Yo, happy Saturday out there, everybody. Hope you are all doing great. It's another live stream, 1 o'clock Pacific time, right here, right now. Right here, right now. That's not millennial cringe. That's, I guess, Gen X. You know that song?
Oh, yeah.
That's
good.
Well, no. Unbelievable is EMF. But right here, right now. Right here, right now.
Jesus Jones?
Jesus Jones, yes. Okay, thank you. I'm dating myself here. Anyway, hope you guys are all doing great out there. This last week I shot an updated version of Johnny Be Good. I think my old lesson on it is really solid. But I was just going over it again to just kind of learn exactly all the right notes, because I usually paraphrase it because there's so many different types of like, that Chuck Berry. I think I would just like, if I'm just not playing it note for note from that original Johnny Be Good recording, I think I would do something like... But let's see, the true note for note, I'll do it slow for you guys real quick, because what I'm going to do in this video for the first, little segment of this is I'm going to just show you the extra little notes that aren't in the pentatonic scale for that song, which I think is like really interesting, valuable stuff, not just for an old, very old original rock and roll sound, but for any kind of improvising, because he uses the major 6, he uses the 9, and the hammered on or slid up major 3rd, none of which are in the minor pentatonic scale, but can be used all the time for blues rock soloing. So the note for note is actually this, and I'll have a new video on it coming out in the next couple weeks. I mean, I shot it already, so it's all, the shooting of it is totally done. Okay, it starts with that, which is all from the major pentatonic, actually. But he goes, which is all major. That's like the major pentatonic or the major scale. And then right down that is, you could call it Mixolydian. And so that is, someone says something's off with the audio. I don't know. Marty's got to focus too. I'm looking at the live stream right now.
Looks good to me.
And it looks good to me. So maybe refresh your screen. I can see my feed right now of what of what my internet and my browser looks like, and it looks perfect right now. I can move it in a little, which will help with audio as well. And I'm playing in this B flat, so you can actually get it. Coming from potato in the mic. I don't know, man. Audio and video perfect. Okay, so I hate, you guys, I have to say, I really, really hate breaking up what I'm trying to show and talk about with audio-visual bugs and stuff like that. It really kind of like ruins the whole experience for me, and it really starts to put me in a bad mood. So I'd rather keep a good mood and focus on what I'm trying to show you.
Aaron Paulson's here too, so.
Aaron Paulson, what's up, man? So yeah, Aaron Paulson, we did some fun little collabs. That was super fun. And I just invited, hey Josh Narco, thanks for the super chat. I just invited Aaron Paulson to play. I'm doing a set May 18th at the Underdog in Nashville, which is kind of like one of the guitar, it's like a dive bar, but it's one of the places where all these great guitar events have been going on in the last few years. And they're doing their Undie Fest, or is it not Undie Fest? Is it some other, whatever, it's a music fest. It's music all day, every day for a few days. So I have one of my own sets on May 18th around 6 or 7 p.m. And I just invited Aaron Paulson to be the drummer for it. Still putting all the details together, but I think if you guys want to see two YouTube knuckleheads jam together, then that would be a place to do it. There'll be more info coming. But so B flat, the normal blues would be right, but instead I just started with, which is all major. And so that little piece, that's one of the little elements I want to talk about that's not the minor pentatonic. I'm in the B flat. Pentatonic is what I'm thinking of it as, or like a B flat blues. So normally it would be the 9th fret on the B string to the 6th fret B string. But instead it goes 9, 8, that's the major 6th, which is in Mixolydian and the major scale, but not the minor pentatonic. So that's a 9, 8, 6, and then when normally you'd play, which would be 6 on the G string to 8 on the D, but instead you hammer up to the major 3rd, so from 6 to 7. So instead of, minor pentatonic, which would sound something like this, which still sounds really, bluesy. It doesn't sound necessarily wrong. It sounds really good. But now I'll play the Johnny B. Good. Notice how it has that little brightness to it, a little bit of some of those kind of like quote unquote happy sounding notes in there. Another thing that's going on there is that little inverted power chord. So a B flat power chord would be the notes B flat and F. But instead we're playing F to B flat. Now another thing there, check that out. That's all major pentatonic again. So the Johnny B. Good intro is it's as much the major pentatonic as it is the regular blues scale. So here it is nice and slow. Someone's asking about tabs in my videos. I get that tabs can be helpful in videos. There's a few reasons why I don't do it. One, I think you internalize the music better if you're just doing it without tabs. That's one, that's like an easy cop-out. But there's like copyright issues when you actually have a written form of it. It adds like double indemnity when you're doing stuff. But really, I think it's better to internalize the music. I also think I break it down really slow in a way that's just going to be better for you in the long run musically than a tab. And I just don't really like tabs. I use them sometimes for reference when I'm checking on something, but I'm just not really a huge fan. I'd rather get the music right away. Teacher to student, right? I get it though. It's a comment that some people ask for. Okay, so. So that little part, that's from the B flat major. Well, if someone hates to be negative, they don't have to be here. Okay, so then here's another thing. When you're playing a 12-bar blues where you have the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord, the 1 chord you can really do a lot of major stuff. But when it's the 4 chord, so like E flat 9, you'd want to play the B flat minor pentatonic specifically over the 4 chord. And that's what in Johnny Be Good, he goes straight to that B flat minor pentatonic for the. So he's always using that little major third hammer on when it's the 1 chord. When it's the 4 chord, that note doesn't work. So you do need a little context about the chord tones. Well, and that's really what it is. It's chord tones and what you're playing over. But so let me show you very specifically the 3 extra notes that are not the minor pentatonic. I'm getting it from Johnny Be Good, but it's for so many more things, right? So I will just do it from the B flat minor pentatonic because that is Johnny Be Good. Clint Miller, I know that name. Still playing licks from DVDs 15 years ago. That's so cool. I sat in with a band last night of guys that were in their very early 20s. And Aaron Paulson's in his early 20s as well. It's really cool to meet young guys in their early 20s who basically were, if they were watching me and like first learning guitar, they were like little kids, you know, watching and hopefully, you know, practicing, watching, learning guitar, and they were little kids. Now they're old enough to get out and be in bands or go out to a bar or go out to a venue, and I get to meet them now because I've been doing videos for 17 years. So that's a new thrill. I mean, it's been the last few years, but there's a different kind of connection with those guys than the guys my own age and the boomers that are older than me. But the band I sat in last night with, well, actually I sat in with 2 different bands. The night before last, I sat in with an awesome Nashville band of young 20-year-old guys called Keep the 11, and they were really great. And they watched me as little kids, and it was such a thrill. And then last night, the band was called Cinema Stereo, and that guitar player, you know, his mom was there, who's my age, but he was taking guitar lessons at a guitar store, but he was so into guitar that he was basically taking lessons and then coming home, and it wasn't enough, so then he was also watching my videos, and he was saying how he was like 7 and 8 years old, and now he's about 20 or 21, so it's just really a cool feeling. And I love that full circle moment now that I've been doing this long enough. Mickey777 says, have I met Jack Black? Yes, I have met Jack Black. I've met Tenacious D, and I've met Jack Black more than once. I've met Jack Black and hung out with him a few times. We're not like friends where I have his phone number or anything, but we, you know, well, everyone knows Jack Black, so I wouldn't say, oh yeah, we know each other. It's like more like, of course, everyone knows Jack Black, and I'm a super fan of Jack Black. But we've hung out a few times, and he knew my name and stuff, so that was a thrill. But yeah, I'm not, you know, we're not like friends. We're not enemies either. But I'm a super fan of Jack Black, and anytime I got to meet him or hang out with him, that was a real thrill for me. There's not many people on that list that I'd be like starstruck by or like look up to in that way as a celebrity, but Jack Black is definitely one of them. And I think before I met Jack Black, he would have been like on the top of my list. It was like, oh, if you could meet any like celebrity, who would it be? He would have definitely been at the very top of the list. So it is cool to be able to say that I like met someone that would have been on the top of my meet your heroes, meet your favorite celebrities. You know, when School of Rock came out, I was actually teaching little kid bands in real life. It wasn't fiction for me. I was actually doing that for real when that movie came out. So when that movie came out, I was like, I connected to it on such a deep level, because that's what I did for real. I was living that movie, obviously in a more realistic way. It wasn't a comedy movie to entertain. I was doing it for real. But anyway, met Jack Black. So, okay, so here's the B flat minor pentatonic scale. So one of those cool little things you can do is anytime you hit that 6th fret G string, you hammer up a half step, and so that's the major third of like a B flat 7 chord. Now our ear accepts the minor third over that chord. It's the sound of the blues, so even though it's not the chord tone, our ear just accepts it. It sounds like blues, it sounds like rock and roll. But you can really emphasize the chord by hammering it up a half step. And here's a great element, and it's in Johnny Be Good, but it's in so much more, is when you're descending the scale, when you get to that 6th fret G, even though you're going down the scale, you hammer up to that 7th fret. And that would sound like this. And when you're going the opposite way, going up the scale, you do the same thing, you hammer up. So whether you're going down the scale or up the scale, when you get to that third, you always hammer up, whether you're going down, up or down. So here it is going up the scale. So that's the first little device I want to emphasize. Now I'm just going to groove on a B flat 7 chord, and I'll just kind of emphasize that for a second. Little Bo Diddley. Alright, I'll emphasize that. So that's the major third, but in the context of the minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so the other one is that major 6th. That would be on, for the B flat chord, because of Johnny Be Good, that would be the 8th fret B string. And that would be in B flat major scale. It would also be in B flat mixolydian. It would also be in the B flat major pentatonic scale, which are all related to each other. And if you're just looking at, all right, my root is B flat, if I play this note here, which is a G note, that is the major 6 of B flat. Now you can still add the 9th fret B string and play them together. Greg Levinson with the $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Greg. I was joking last week. I was going to say that will buy the $20 super chat will buy us a 2-pack of eggs. Instead of a dozen eggs, it's a duo. What's the 2 of dozen? If dozen's 12, what's 2? A pair. Pair of eggs.
Yeah.
A pair pack of eggs, $20. What is BB's favorite note? Well, he does that major 6 too. So you can either have it as an additional note to your minor pentatonic vibes, or you can do it as a substitute for that note. So if I'm playing the B flat minor pentatonic, instead of playing that 9th fret B, I can play instead the 8th fret B. So here's what I'll do it with as the additional note. So it's like an extra note in your minor pentatonic. That sounds like this. Now, as a substitute, so I'm going to still think of it as the minor pentatonic. And these are not the blues notes. I saw that comment in there. These are not the blues notes. That's something else, and I can show you that, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. So now what I'm going to do, that was the extra note of the major 6. Now I'm going to do it as the substitution of that flat 7. Now they're both in the that's just the concept. They're completely interchangeable. You can do both notes. You can do just the substitution within one solo. It's just more about an approach. So either is going to work. Oh, and by the way, huge shout out to Matt Eldridge.
So
We're in between his kids having stomach viruses today.
Yeah.
Yeah. No fevers, no viruses?
Nah.
It's still questionable.
Yeah.
That wasn't 100%.
Yeah.
That wasn't 100% answer. But Matt is here, so he's like, I can see the comments here. But Matt's also looking at the comments. Is there any important one that I missed? No?
Nope.
Nothing? Okay.
Nothing yet.
Well, that sucks. Why are you here?
Can you play Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah, I have to watch my own video though. You guys want to watch?
That's what you're missing, dude.
You want to watch me watch my own video real quick to like refresh on it? Here's what I'm practicing though. Still practicing it though. It's not ready. It's still marinating. You know, you gotta give it time to ferment. Okay. So we just lost 50 viewers when I did that. It was worth it. It was worth it. Okay, so here's another note, the 9. So it's the same exact thing on the B string, but instead on the high E string. So you've got the, it would be, so I'd be the 8th fret high E instead of the 9th fret. And once again, the same concept. You can add it. Some people would go, oh, that's Dorian. It's all just depending on how you're, the context of how you're using it. You know, that kind of thing. You can do it as a substitution. So that's a you know, another note. So those are the 3 extra notes that I did kind of just think about with Johnny Be Good. And to reiterate what they are, they're the major 3rd hammer-on. So that was the first one. The next one was the major 6. Then there's the 9, which he does on this. So there's still all this great blues, like this kind of thing. But then he adds that hammer on. He adds the major 6. So major 3rd hammer on, major 6, addition or hammer on or substitution, and then the 9. So Botley said, I'm gonna make this a little bigger for my eyes. There we go, much better. You know, I can make the font bigger. I might as well. No one can see it. Botley, I just watched one of your tutorials and then I saw you are streaming LOL. Well, that's one of the very few times in the last year where the algorithm actually helped me. Oh, cool. Matt Tusky, Humphrey, Humpinski. I think I've seen your name before. So weird. I just looked this song up and was practicing it this week. Cool, yeah. So that's those are nice little things that, you know, even though you think about blues and the minor pentatonic, there's lots of nuance and extra notes, because also there is what someone asked about, the blues note, which is like a passing tone. You know, you've got the 4th and the 5th, and it's the flat 5th, but it only sounds bluesy going up to the 5th or down to the 4th, like this, up to the 5th, which you hear here, or down to the 4th. Someone said more collabs with Aaron Paulson. We don't have any in the can, but we had a really fun time. You know, the older generation and the younger generation. YouTube legacies coming this summer.
Yeah, we're doing more.
Yeah, we're gonna do more. It was super. We had a great time doing it. And also, you know, shout out to Aaron Paulson's, just straight up as a drummer, is a great drummer, but he's so funny and does so many funny different little sketches and stuff, and also does the one-man band with the drumstick taped to his ball cap, and you know, he's such an entertaining, charismatic guy. that he's definitely doing the right stuff. But just as a solid, just drummer, like if he had no personality and was just a drummer, he's really great. That's why I invited him to sit, jam with me on May 18th at the Underdog, because I think he'd have fun just doing a drum thing. You know, we don't have to. He will end up being funny probably, but that's not the idea. We're just gonna actually play, and I think it'll end up being really fun and cool and musical. So yes, yeah, you know, he watched me as a little kid too, which, you know, there could be one angle where you're like, well, I feel really old, and I mean, you know, I got a gray beard and I've been doing YouTube for 17 years, so yes, I am old, but I also like I've been able to do it longer than I expected. I achieved and accomplished like what I was setting out to do. I supported a family. I helped people. I had fun. I got to use my thing that I worked on for many years before that, which was guitar playing. So I kind of got to combine everything I love to do into my career. And so I feel I'm super, super fortunate. It's not even like that I feel fortunate. I am fortunate, because some people work way harder and don't achieve the thing they're trying to achieve. Which I spent many years doing that as well, trying things and not being successful at it. So anyway, I feel really fortunate, and I've been able to do it a long time. So yeah, someone like Aaron Paulson, you know, learned guitar from me as a child, as a little kid, and all these young bands with energy now. I had to manage my bedtime last night just to sit in with a band. I still got it in me though. Once I'm up there, it was good. Here's what I played with that band last night, because these live streams don't really make money, right? It's a reel. It doesn't really make money. So here's what I played with Cinema Stereo last night. I hope you're saying the wrong songs on purpose. with that song with this band from Nashville. Young, the guitar player was 20 years old, so I don't know if he was even allowed in the place, but they were like, oh, we're going to bring up this guy who we learned guitar from, and I'm sure a lot of you learned guitar from. In fact, we learned this song from him. And I was like, oh, okay, good sign, good sign. So that was Led Zeppelin, Good Times, Bad Times. Okay, so in these live streams, I've said it quite a few times, but basically, I pick a topic, usually the night before, and if I have some sale going on, I'll pick something that's from the topic of the product that's for sale, but there's no sale going on right now. But I will let you know that next week, next Saturday, will that sale been started? I think it will, right? I'll just pretend that it is.
Yeah.
What do you call it when you did something?
2 weeks.
Will it be next Saturday? No.
Following Saturday.
All right. Well, I'll tease it anyway.
Yeah.
What do you call it when you? Not a coup, but when you we were able to do something that's never been done before. We're not pioneer. You're young. Your brain's more malleable.
Mm-hmm.
Help me out, Matt. A coup, we did something. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Pioneer sound, right?
Pioneer. No, that's not the word though that I'm trying. Revolution. The revolution starts now. Innovate. Created. Innovation. Okay, I'll say this. There's a pretty killer guitar player that got, he had a whole career before YouTube, and super charismatic. The very first wave of YouTube, he was doing guitar demos on a channel for a vintage guitar store or something like that. And he'd play these great demos, super funny, ripping on guitar, amazing singer. Was just people fell in love with the guy. And everyone loved what he was doing, and they still do. For the last 10 years, which it doesn't seem like it's been 10 years, but for the last 10 years he joined. Yes, we've achieved unprecedented achievements. Keep them coming. I'll say any good description you guys got. It's still not the exact one I'm looking for, but anyway, we were able to get somebody to make a guitar masterclass who has never done one, right? So I produced a masterclass for Marcus King, and he had never done one. So we pioneered that, right? We did that. We did one for Jared James Nichols, but he had done them before. He's a great teacher, so that was really good. I think maybe I was thinking it was a coup, but I don't know. But so we did one. We got someone that's never done one before. Groundbreaking. Oh, 2 groundbreakings in a row from 2 different people. Groundbreaking. Viva la Revolution. Founding fathers of Michael Marullo got it. We got Phil Lex. He's been in Bon Jovi now for 10 years, which is a long time. Seems like he just joined up with them 2 years ago, but he's actually been doing Bon Jovi for 10 years. So we got together with Phil X and produced a guitar masterclass. That's Phil X. All Phil X all the time. No coffee needed. Completely sober guy. Although, no, maybe he did have a coffee. Did he have a coffee?
Get a coffee.
He had a coffee. Okay, fair enough. You know, he's getting up there.
It was early.
It was early. So we went to this great sound stage with, you know, like professional big stage with like concert lighting and his giant Friedman amp stack and his Phil X guitars, Trailblazer. You're thinking of a coup because you headhunted the amazing person to create a unique opportunity for a masterclass. Something like that, I guess. Yep. Something like that. But so anyway, Phil X, I saw a big window, an opening for Phil X. He had never done one before. He'd been offered it before, and I don't know, none of it was right for him, I guess. And so I felt like it would be a great opportunity for him and for me, because I enjoy kind of taking my 17 years of experience from this end. Here, I'm stuck in this window. Help. I am in the phantom zone. I am in the phantom zone. Help. Help me out. Don't put me in a box, bro. But so anyway, we got together with Phil X. We made a guitar masterclass for him. And it's finished. And so that is going to... next Saturday won't be out yet, but it's coming in the next week and a half. We're really happy with the results. More importantly, Phil X is happy with the results. That was the most important thing. And it's all got PDF tablature for those people complaining about tabs. It's got tabs. It's got all his signature style of guitar playing, performance tips, songwriting tips, stories, great stories. You know, we kept him from throwing anyone under the bus. They're only positive stories. And it's
Dirty Sanchez.
Dirty Sanchez.
Was that the little face? Was that what we called him?
That sounds right. What little face? Remind me what the face
In
is.
his guitar, there's
Oh.
that freaky little
face in his... Well, but he also has like a little Lego guy in there.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a Wolverine, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
The Dirty Sanchez?
I thought it was something Sanchez, yeah.
All right. That means a few different things, Matt. That you should know, being a tour manager.
I know.
He knows.
Yeah.
He knows all about it. Okay, so yeah, anyway. What I was saying earlier, though, is when I do a live stream, I pick a topic that's usually based on a sale that's going on, and there is no sale going on right now. And I like the bad stories, too. I have plenty of my own. You know, you get yourself into trouble, though. You get yourself into trouble. Like, I have my own. I have a few great stories. I'd tell you not live on live stream. If I was, like, hanging out with you somewhere, I could tell you some of these stories. I can't here live, because it'll be documented forever. I could have plausible deniability if I just told you in private. And I got some good ones. Phil has some good ones, too, that were not on camera. But usually I pick a topic for these live streams. Like today was 3 extra notes you can add outside of the pentatonic scale for extra flavor. Inspired by redoing Johnny B. Good lately. But then I usually focus for the first half hour of the live stream to like really do like kind of like a little clinic or a little mini course on the topic. But then after that half hour, I just don't care what happens anymore, because that's fun too, is like interacting with your comments and just seeing where things go. So we already did the first half hour, and now I'm just going off of things that you're typing and going back and forth. But yes, sign my newsletter at martymusic.com. You'll get a bunch of killer resources, but then you'll also get notified. Good timing, Matt. You also get notified when that Phil X masterclass comes out. So that's going to be, you can't miss that. He's never done one before. He has a lot of amazing techniques. Something that's cool about Phil X that I kind of knew subconsciously, but only when I was like with him working on it did I really realize it. So he's talked so much about Eddie Van Halen as his North Star, his ultimate guitar hero, which is a great one to have. So many people's favorite guitar hero is EVH, Eddie Van Halen. But Phil X is so talented and so good at guitar, but then also Eddie Van Halen's his favorite guitar player, that he did the thing that I respect really good guitar players do. Nuno Bettencourt did this as well, is that they use their guitar hero and they play all and learn all their stuff, but then they're able to be creative enough to create their own playing style where they're not just a copycat of Van Halen. So Nuno Bettencourt did this, but Phil X did this as well. And as we were going through the course and we were picking different topics to talk about string bending and the pentatonic scale and playing with speed and right hand techniques, left hand techniques, all that, when we got to a point where we wanted to talk about finger tapping or tapping on the guitar, I realized, I knew it subconsciously, but I realized, oh, he does not tap. And he won't tap. Phil X will not, you'll never see Phil X. He'll bend behind the nut and he'll do extreme bends, but he will not tap. And that's just because of really his respect for Van Halen to not do that. So that was just a little takeaway by, getting deeper in with Phil X to realize, oh yeah, he does not do tapping. And that's, out of his respect, and also to not sound like he's cloning his guitar hero, Eddie Van Halen. He did meet Eddie Van Halen once, or was it twice? You were busy doing administrative stuff.
It's in the masterclass.
It's in the masterclass. He got to meet Van Halen once, just like I got to meet Jack Black, one of my North Stars. Paul Cooper says, have you met Eddie's son, Wolfie? I have not met Wolf Van Halen, but I really respect Wolfie. One, he's extremely talented. Two, he's in the shadow of the greatest and most influential rock guitar player of all time, or arguably number one or number two. So he's always going to have this criticism thrown at him, which is just unavoidable. And I think the coolest things that he's done, there's a bunch of cool things that he's done. One, he's a great singer, great frontman, great guitar player, great writer, great drummer, great bass player. He plays all the instruments on his own album, and is the singer, and is the songwriter. But I think the coolest thing about that is that it would have been so easy to just clone, do a kind of cheaper knockoff version of Eddie Van Halen's music and style. And he went completely different. I think it's braver, but also more rewarding in the long run to be able to do his own thing, right? So yeah, he was musically gifted with his gene pool and influence of having your dad be Van Halen. But he did something completely different, and also has to endure a ton of criticism, which I think he's only gotten better and better at handling. But it's really unfair, but it's understandable. So I'm a big fan of Wolfie, and I'm not even really that modern hard rock sound that he has is not the sound that I gravitate towards the most, but I think he is really, really good. Okay, let's see. MCR Nirvana 232. You got your first guitar yesterday, can already play one full song thanks to you. Thank you. Awesome. Just remember, look up easy beginner songs first. It'll make those harder songs easier to learn if you walk up the staircase each step at a time. Don't try and reach the top step on your first step. Take little steps to the top. You'll get to the top much quicker than trying to reach all the way to that top with one step. So a good riff, because you have Nirvana in your username there. Rocco Guitar Band. So let's see, a week from yesterday, I'm doing the Gibson Garage, the 25th.
Yeah.
So I'll throw that out there. The 25th, April 25th.
4 p.m. this time.
4 p.m.
Yep.
April 25th, 4 p.m. Nashville, Tennessee, the Gibson Garage. I thought of it because of my friend Rocco Guitar Band. Rocco has made it to a lot of my Gibson Garage events, and always love to see him. And you've been so many times, Rocco. If for some reason you can't make it, I understand. But what that event is really cool. It's called Back to Basics, but I bring a drummer and a bass player, and anyone who plays guitar or even doesn't play guitar, honestly. You can be a beginner or you can be a more experienced player. It does not matter. You can come up and play with me in a band and just feel what it feels like. The audience and the other people there are very supportive. They're not judging you. And I love it when someone that's really a beginner comes up and plays, because they get that thrill of playing with a drummer and a bass player, and they might not be experienced enough to do that in any other kind of setting or situation. So Back to Basics, April 25th, 4 p.m. at the Gibson Garage in Nashville, Tennessee. It's free. All you have to do is show up. And not only that, I hang around, and anyone that wants to say hello or talk about guitar or take a picture or anything like that, I hang out the whole time with everybody, and it's a really positive environment. And I love it if you're a beginner and you have the guts to come up. We'll make it work for you, and you can just pick a song, hopefully an easy song, and we have a great time doing that. So April 25th, Gibson Garage, 4 p.m., Nashville, Tennessee, free event. Come up and play with me in a band. I'll be there with my fedora on and ready to go. Ready to go. And there's guitars there, so you don't have to bring a guitar. It's Gibson Garage, so good Gibson guitars are preferable. Some people are really particular, I can only play this one guitar I brought, which is fine. But if you just think about it, Gibson Garage, there's 800 amazing Gibsons there, and you can pick one out and play it. And there's an amp, and we got Matt will actually help strap the guitar on you.
Yep.
Matt will be there. Southern Cross Vids, thank you so much. Yes, you might end up buying a guitar, so you have to be careful. Greg Levinson, always appreciate your support. Duckett, play Pinball Wizard. Sometimes I get these requests, and I've taught, close to 4,000 songs probably. And I don't know anyone that can remember well, maybe there are people, but I can't remember all 4,000 songs that I've learned and taught. But Michael Marullo says, how's Lindsay L? Just watched an old video she did with you. Yes, where my beard wasn't as white and gray. That comment captured my eye because my good friend Eric, who does this great event in Nashville called Pitch Meeting, and he also has played bass with me a lot, including at the Gibson Garage. Eric Fortaleza, a huge shout out to Eric. He just got married, and he moved from Australia to Nashville because he was actually Lindsay L's bass player. So I met him through Lindsay L, and then the pandemic hit, and so there were no gigs, so he wasn't with Lindsay anymore, and he just basically became this really in-demand bass player here in Nashville, and he's got a great personality. He's a great friend, and he just had a wedding last weekend, and it was 300 people at the wedding. It was a really big wedding, so it was all really awesome musicians there. It was mostly one side of the aisle was all musicians, the other side was all people from his family who are Filipino Australians, Filipinos who live in Australia. So there was like all this huge amount of his Filipino family on one side, on the other side, all these musicians, and it was just a great wedding. But Lindsay L was one of the groom's people for Eric, and I hadn't run into her in a few years, and so she was at the wedding, and she's doing great. She's a great artist, Lindsay L, if you don't know her. She started more as a country artist, but now she's a little more just like contemporary songwriter. She plays great guitar, lead guitar, which not many female artists play their own lead guitar. So I think that's kind of unique about her.
Is she doing some TV stuff?
And she's a host of Canada's Got Talent, because she's Canadian. And so she's been hosting co-hosting Canada's Got Talent for 4 or 5 years. And then also she picked up a gig with, it don't impress me much. What's that? Country star? Come on, Matt. You're supposed to help me.
Shania? No.
Shania Twain. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. She plays lead guitar with Shania Twain, which was one of her heroes. So she gets to be the lead guitar for one of her heroes, Shania Twain, and co-host Canada's Got Talent, and then work on her own music as well. So I hadn't seen her in a chunk of years, but she was at that wedding. So we all wish her the best. Week 2 of learning guitar. I love your videos. Thank you, says Carrie McMullen. That's so awesome. 2 weeks in. The number one thing about being 2 weeks into learning guitar is patience. Set the goal of 5 minutes a day, because you'll have little breakthroughs and that 5 minutes will become an hour or 2 hours. But if you say 5 minutes, that means what I'm really saying is pick the guitar up every day. And if you're having like a tough time with it in that one session, 5 minutes is really achievable and you put it down. But every once in a while in the beginning, one of those 5 minute sessions, you'll have a nice little breakthrough and it can become an hour or half hour. And so just set the goal of 5 minutes a day, meaning you've got to pick it up every single day, and then eventually you're going to really be playing. Don't impress me much. Hold me down. Is it down? I thought I
was now.
Now. Hold me now. It might be down. Matt Tuski, Humphrey Humpinski. How long did it take you to come up with that YouTube name there? I've done YouTube. He said, I don't know. Good. I don't know either, actually. I've done YouTube so long that I remember YouTube having their own message inbox. You can message other YouTube channels and have a whole, like, communications with other YouTubers. Play some Skeenard. the show. Thanks, guys. We'll see you. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter. If you celebrate, all my best. See ya. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down.